timeless. তুই তোর বই পড়ার কাজ কর, দাদা পড়বো। অ্যাক্টিং দেখার মতো বই না বই, বুঝলো? তোর দিনটা বই পড়ার মানে তুই ওইটা বই পড়। তুই দাদা পড়বো ওই টাইম কি করে নিয়ে ওই লেভেলে তুই পড়। পড়লে পড়বো না পড়বো একটা পড়া আপনার দেখার মতো পড়ার মতো নেই, এটা হচ্ছে দাদা তোর।
Divided task types into Women's scholar geography is also the first documents for 10 minutes are articles surveys inspired purpose and researches of the great ages of discoveries. Okay, but and 15th century and the art. The museum and the First, go through the maps. Okay, so is recounted as the first cattle mathematical geography, the father of mathematical geography, and according to the father of history, he was also a brother of history, not that, and Herodotus was a history must be treated geographically, and all geography must be treated historically. And because of the conspirators who tried to draw the meridians on the maps, the meridians on the maps, and the period from the 100 AD to 1200 AD is considered as the dark age. Okay, is considered is considered as dark age in the Christian countries because during the period there were no important or revolutionary methods or discoveries, and Indian contribution and geography Indians with the Rig Veda United States the people changed in the world that was the descriptions of the stars all over the Indian astrology started around 600 BC, the years of Buddha. Hmm. The ways of Buddha and the Rig Veda also describe the five seasons in India. Okay. The famous Indian geographer Aryabhatta, born in the 476 AD, told that the earth is the spherical ball is regularly and the calculator as the circumferences as the as 20,835 miles, and this is very close to the present calculations of 24,901 miles, and Aryabhatta is with his famous book and Hindu time for geography. Geography Google was used to first time his book Surya Siddhanta. The Google first used his book Surya Siddhanta Aryabhatta. And next is Barahmir. Okay, one of the famous man. 505, 505 to 587 AD, and this is the most famous geographer of Indian after Aryabhatta. He gave the information about the solar and the lunar eclipse, and he has discussed the five influences of the besieged. Okay, five consist of besieged, then Pritama, then Prudas, and Thor, and came his astrologer, Drizzt, and Panchasiddhantika. One of the famous is Brahmagiri, Panchasiddhantika is Pritama, Purus, Thor, and next one is uh, Brahmagupta. Brahmagupta. Pioneered 665 AD and wrote the Brahma Siddhanta, and the Khand Kavya. These two treats were translated into the Arabic during the reign of Caliph al-Rashid in Baghdad. Okay, during Baghdad and Brahmagupta. Brahmagupta famous text is Brahma Siddhanta and Khand Kavya. and Vascara Charya, Vascaracharya, Lulu, 100 through 1000 or through 1000, 114 to 1185 AD wrote the Siddhanta Shiromani, Siddhanta Shiromani, and the Karana Kutula, okay. Karan Kutula, calculations of the astronomical wonders.
লেখা আছে ক্লিক করে
In India had been called the Mahindra
হ্যাঁ
Mahindra
20 সেকেন্ড
Mahindra
লাল লঙ্কা
Mahindra India has been described as the Sunni influence and the eastern coast of India had been called the Mahindra Malay and the ancient Indian geographers had held that the prime meridian traces through Ujjain. To region understand the cosmology, British scientists the propagates the concept of God particle in 1964 based on the boson theory. Okay. There is Satyendra Bose of India, and the low educational institution was established under the patronage of the Caliph Colonel Rashid of Baghdad and Arab geographer about 13 to 8, 380 wrote a book named there was in the hand and the incredible moment 18 to 18 and Kitab of Primitive also the figured by Madaki and Alberoni. The wrote his famous book Kitab Kitab al-Hind and Biruni. Kitab al-Hind. Kitab al-Hind, the geography of India and 1030 AD and in the Arab world, the 11th century is termed as the period of Al-Biruni, the famous books of Al-Biruni and Al-Quran, Al-Masriti. Most written in the same style of the Biruni and Arab because the present season account of the monsoons and all great trade and travel of the 13th century boat travels for the first time in the navigation and up to the Pacific Ocean and another boat in 1997 for the established it is sailor Vasco da Gama gave Vasco da Gama 1497 for the reach the Calicut port of Calicut port in India. Again, India via Cape of Good Hope in the African continent and this way discovered a new sea route to India. 19 the Portuguese traveler wrote who in India were credited urban Africa and discovers a new sea route to India and Christopher Columbus, residents of Geneva, okay, discovered the America was Greece was at that time given the name of world. Given the New World and the New World was named America with the development of Portuguese traveler Amerigo base. Soon there in Geneva was and the go before and Portuguese traveler was went around the whole world and the 1520 AD, the traveler sailor of Holland, okay, Holland, Tasman, discovered the Tasmania and the traveler New Zealand, okay, New Zealand, and English sailor Captain Jesco traveled around America between 1772 to and 1775 while the Roald Amundsen discovered the South Pole. They discovered the South Pole. Amundsen discovered the South Pole and 1911 he also discovered the Lower Iceland and the famous discovered innovations of the Renaissance period era. The painting race or printing around about 14, 17, 80 and the solar system. Solar system Copernicus solar system के original Copernicus solar system Copernicus and 1543 AD and telescope Galileo 1690 AD and the works on first printing press or the printing was about 1470 AD and numbers on the astronomy. Based on astronomy, Kepler and there was period shapes of the art cases shape of the art Newton. Okay, gravity and various laid over the foundations of the dichotomy of the systematic geography and the regional geography for the first time, and the German geographer Alexander von Humboldt. Okay, Humboldt, 1769 to 1889, they wrote his famous book, The Cosmos. When Cosmos, Alexander von Humboldt, then he had played the great role and the development of the cosmology. Humboldt was the first person who gave an idea to the construct a canal across the Panama Isthmus and Humboldt coined the terms climatology and permafrost and geography, and he was the first to depict the isotherms on the map. And due to such a great contributions to the Humboldt also the called the father of the climatology, the father of modern geography, and the father of vegetation geography and as an independent subject source for study geography got the recognitions in 19th century AD, and in early 20th century, geography evolved as a study of the mutual relation between the human and environment. And there are theories of it. The German geographer Reinhold, German geographer, is considered as the father of the political geography and human geography. And his famous book is the Anthropogeography. Okay, his famous book is Anthropogeography. There is results, and in this book, he has thoughts and ideas with the Darwinian theory of evaluations, and Bradley is also the father of Levin's story considered even the exact geographical regions where the different species evolved. And in his political geography, he has compared the state with the organisms and held that the expansions of boundary and need to fulfill the biographical need. The French geographer Vidal de la Base was the founder of the possibilities, and he is the considered of the real founder of the human geography, the real founder of the human geography. And the British geographer Mackenzie gave the famous concept of political geography, the heartland theory. Okay, the heartland theory, and British geographer heartland theory, and his famous blockade, his famous book, and his famous book, circumvention of the heartland, and will have control over the continent, and will rule regions, and the continent controls the whole world. And American geographer Carl Ford once through the story is considered the father of the cultural geography. The British geography basis of the world into 15 regions, and the basis of the mutual relation between the physical features and the climates and the vegetation. So therefore, he is considered as the first person who studies the natural geography. Universe. Universe is commonly defined as the totality of the everything that including all the physical matters and energy, and the planets and stars, galaxies, and the contents of into the thick space. Okay, the study of universe is known as the cosmology. Okay, and the cosmology in the cosmos means universe, and logos means science, and the diameters of the universe is 10 to the power 8 of gases forming 100 billion stars. Okay, so 100 billion stars. So the total number of the stars in the universe is 10 to the power 22 stars, and the Milky Way, the galaxy, is the home of our the galaxy of home of our solar system. The Milky Way, it is the speed and Milky Way galaxy was formed 5 billion years after the Big Bang. Milky Way galaxy was found after 5 billion years after the Big Bang, and the first person to see this galaxy was the Galileo Galilei. First person to see the galaxy, Galileo Galilei. The latest known galaxy is the dwarf galaxy, and according to the modern thought, universe can be classified into two parts: namely the atmosphere, and number two is a shell. And origin of the universe is explained by the Big Bang theory. Okay, origin of the universe is explained by Beckman for more detail and process by the Belgian astronomer and cosmologist at George Lamitri Andromeda is our nearest galaxy. Andromeda is the nearest galaxy and Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is very important. All the matters is the universe was originally concentrated land called the triangle atom, and Big Bang was the explosions that occurred 13.798 billion years ago. Okay, Big Bang. This is now leading to the formations of the galaxies, of stars, and other cosmic bodies. And the science since then, all the galaxies have been flying away from one another, causing the expansions of the universe and theories regarding and origins of the universe. Theories to profound. The Big Bang Theory, Big Bang Theory by George Chemistry and steady state theory, Thomas Gold and Low Harman Borty and Thinking Universe theory, Dr. Alan Sands again. Theory, Dr. Alan Sands and inflationary theory. Alan Robert and Higgs boson. Okay. Higgs boson historical meta experiment was successfully conducted and 100 feet deep and 100 feet deep and 27 feet long channel in okay, and large Lulu, Lars Hadron, Lars Hadron, Collinder, in Geneva by European Center of Nuclear, okay, European Centers of Nuclear Research, and by 13 March. By 13 March 2010, the unravel the mysteries of the universe, universe in which more than thousand scientists of excellence in the experiment in the sequence of floating beams having the same velocity of light were quality to produce his versions, and these make experience world unravel and unsolved the mysteries related to the origins of the universe. Origin of the universe is so far is known as the dark matters and dark energy or extra dimensions and Higgs bosons and God particles. And through these make experiments, the scientists try to repeat the phenomena which occurred prior or to 15 another 15 million years ago, known as Big Bang. Okay, in the field of science, and it is now considered as the Higgs boson, which is known to be Higgs boson with robot particle in which the mystery of the universe exists, and become it is also it is also okay. It is also considered as has the most basic learner as raised of continued right efforts of 15 years and see and on the July 2012 identified the practical this is most seems to expose and visual had to unravel several aspects of the universe on the 14 February 2013. Plus, the corridor was the but it has been restarted in June 2015. Okay, start. Clumps of dust and gas in nebula come together due to gravity and form stars. Okay, form stars, stars are made of hot boiling gases, if you want boiling gases, and they emit the light of the moon and are very large and very hot. And according to NASA, the light sessions are about 4.35 years to reach us from Alpha. It will century and 4.25 years from the nearest star. Proxima Centauri and the solar system. The solar system considered most important solar system. Okay, solar system considered of the sun, the eight planets, okay, eight planets and their satellites or moons and thousands of other smaller heavenly bodies such as asteroids and cancer. Comets and their low matter. The sun is the sun is at the center of the solar system. All these bodies revolve around each other, and the gravitation and the force of the sun supports all the planets and other subjects revolving around it, and thus the motions of all the members of solar system is governed government may divide the gravitational forces of the sun. So the planets revolves around the sun is elliptical the orbits. Okay, in the solar system, the Mercury, then Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. And in the solar system, the planets are nearest to Sun as the Mercury. Nearest the sun is Mercury, and the planet nearest from the sun is the farthest from the sun is the Neptune, not Pluto. Okay. Then the size of solar systems has been estimated to at about 10 to the power 5 AU. The solar system is dominated by the sun's which accords for almost 99.9% of the matter in the world of solar system, and the sun is also the source of all the energy and the solar system. And Pluto is the dwarf planet. Okay, now not considered as a planet. Mercury, Venus, in our solar system, and Mercury, Venus, are the Mars, are called terrestrial planet, and Venus is the Saturn, and Uranus and Neptune are called gaseous planet. Gaseous planet. This is called planet Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, gaseous planet, and heliocentrism. Okay, heliocentrism, cosmological model, and in a way, so the sun as assumed to lie at at a near center of the points, yeah, the areas of the solar system over the universe, while the Earth and other bodies revolve around it. And in the 5th century, we see the Greek philosopher Philolaus and Hello. It is speculated separately that the art was still revolving around daily around some the mystical central fire, and that regulated the universe. And 2 centuries later, Researchers of Samos extended this idea by the proposing that the Earth and other planets move around a definite center of which which believed to be the sun. In the 2nd century AD, the Claudius Ptolemy of Alexandria suggests that he is described tendency could be resolved if it were assumed that the Earth was fixed and position with the Sun and other bodies revolve around it. Then, as a result, Ptolemy's geocentric art-centric system dominated scientific thought, the law thought for some 1,400 years, and in 1444, Nicholas of again argue for the rotations of the earth and of other having the bodies, but it was not until the publications of Nicholas Copernicus the revolutionaries sorry the revolution universe or being Theories theorem delivery six books connecting the revolution of the heavenly orbs, and in the 1543 that heliocentrism begins to the re-established, and Galileo Galilei supported of the model again resulted in his famous trial before the Inquisitions in 1633 and geocentric models. This is models in theory, again, theory structures of the solar system or innovation plus art yes, art is album to be the central operator over and the most highly logical geocentric model was that of the Buddhism is easy and 80% generally begins except until the 16th century afterwards. I was superseded by heliocentric models such as that of Nicholas Copernicus. Okay. The members of solar system. Next day. Okay, there are whole persons who love all mankind. Okay, all mankind, or someone who really gives money and help the people who need it. God give philanthropist, okay, and inscriptions on on the tombstone, okay, tombstones in the memory of the person who has died, called habitum, and something no longer in use, called obsolete, and something is obsolete, and the handwriting which is difficult or impossible to read, called illegible, something that cannot be avoided or certain to happen, called inevitable, and the place called keeping the birds and confined to confined space, called every, and belonging to the same time persons are living in the same age with another called contemporary, the persons who can endure pain or hardship without showing his feelings or complaining or story, and one who does not believe in the existence of God, called atheist, and persons who draws or makes maps, called photographer, and extreme fear of being in a small confined place, called claustrophobia, and one who knows everything, called omniscient, solutions for all difficult diseases, called panacea. A person who knows and is able to use several languages, called polyglot, and arrangement of events or dates in order of their occurrences, called chronology. Speech or presentation made without previous preparation, called extempore, and one who is difficult to a place, called fastidious, and teenager society where everything is perfect and everyone is happy, place of ideal the perfections, specifically, and laws, government, and social condition, utopia. One who plays for place, the one who plays for places rather than as a professional person who has neither well expressed nor professional or non-professional, who is inept and at a particular activity, called amateur, and able to use the left hand and right hand equally well, called ambidextrous, and persons who alters or criticizes the theories, the beliefs or institutes, called iconoclast, and one who cannot make a mistake, called infallible, and also one who makes charitable donations intended to the welfare of other people, called altruism. The place where public government or this is historical, because it keeps called archives, and person who loves or collects books, called bibliophile. Okay. The murder of a whole race or group of people, called genocide, and person who loves or collects books, called bibliophile. The sound that cannot be heard, called inaudible, and one who cannot be corrected, or one who is beyond reform, called there is no incorrigible. A person who writes or reads there is a dictionaries, like typographer, and someone who is or acting there is no merely for money or other rewards. A soldier who fights for the sake of money, called mercenary, and a person who has the and words other people, called misanthrope, and there is no sentimental longing for a period in the past, called nostalgia, an animal that can live both on land and both the amphibians and life. Okay. The life history of a person is written by himself, called autobiography, and written by another person, called biography. And a person who has a human place, called cannibal. A person's employed to drive a private or hired car, called chauffeur, and scientifically all worms and insects, called entomology. One who is unable to pay debts, called insolvent, and a person who strong desire to steal kept to kleptomania, and government or ruled by a small group of people of oligarchy. The oligarchy, one who is all powerful, only person. So, only person who collects or studies stamps. Okay. There is a philanthropist and persons who never does alcoholic deals. So the teetotaler and someone having many skills of versatile, and persons who believes that laws and governments are not necessary. A person who believes and or tries to bring about state lawlessness and good anarchist and the art of beautiful handwriting, calligraphy, the group of stars that forms a shape in the sky. The and has a name. They has a name because there is a constellations and an animal that lives in group or tending to associate with others or to participate kinds. Okay, gregarious, a quiet person who is more interested in his own thoughts and feelings than the spending time with other people called introvert and a piece of land garden in a vast fruit trees are grown orchard fit to drink portable. A person who helps another to commit a crime or to do something morally wrong. A partner in crime called accomplice. And a person who is not sure about God's existence, agnostic, and a person partial or total loss of memory, amnesia, the partial loss, okay, partial or total loss of memory, amnesia, and the situation in a country and organization, etc. in a place where is no government order control, core anarchy, and persons who regard the whole world um, this country, one who is a citizen, not a country, but of the world, called cosmopolitan, and a person who leaves his country to live in another immigrant and listing for a very short time. If you made it to free somebody from all blame, called inexorate, and one who is easily deceived. Deliver and holding an office without receiving a pay, called honorary. Persons who suffers from an imaginary illness and persons who is abnormally anxious about his health, called hypochondriac. And persons who are pretending to be somebody who he is not, called hypocritic, and that who cannot be conquered, called invincible. Okay, place where money is coined by authority of the government meant and persons who admires himself or herself too much, especially his appearance, called narcissist and well known for being bad. Person of evil reputation, called notorious. And persons who collect coins, numismatists, and a large number of pieces swimming together show place where bees are kept, collaborating, and military structures where arms and ammunition, or other military equipments are stored, called arsenal. Arsenal is a story of a person's life written by somebody else biography. Okay, the story of a person's life written by somebody else biography and written by himself, called autobiography. And a house or soldiers of Gripsy, a group of people, specifically trades or pilgrims, travel together across a desert, called a caravan. And the man who knows a lot about things of like food, music, and art, called connoisseur, and a man behaving more like a woman than as a man, called a feminine. A poem that express a lament for the dead, called Elise. Poem that express longing for the dead, Elise, in a short which are the end of the play, called epilogue, and the person who believes. Okay, short speech at the end of the play, epilogue, and start speech, okay, short speech at the starting of the play called prologue. And the persons who believes that all events are predetermined or subject to fate, okay, fatalist, believe in fate. And the persons who sells and sells and arrange card flowers called sarist, an extreme fear of poetry called hydrophobia. A plan of a journey, including the route of the places that will be visited, called itinerary, and a copy of a book, a piece or music, or a piece of music, etc. Before it has been printed, a paper written by hand called manuscript, and the persons who dislikes romance called misogynist, and a person who was on the foot and not travel in a vehicle called pedestrian, and the persons who always expects bad things to happen or something not to be successful called pessimist. Nirashawadi. Okay, and occurring or coming into existence after a person's death called posthumous, and the mother of a king regicide, someone who worries about himself, sleep or called somnambulist, and scientific study of sound called acoustic. Scientific study of sounds called acoustics. Then the many quit or to former while the husband or partner when the marriage is ended called alimony. The study of human, again, study of human race, specifically of its origin, specifically of its origin and development, and the customs and beliefs called anthropology. The glass tank where fish and water plants are kept called aquarium. The person who is chosen to settle up the disagreement, a person's appointed by to the parties to resolve dispute called arbiter, and study of human history and the prehistory through the excavations of sites called archaeology, and government by the nobles, or government by person higher social order called aristocracy, and hard or but easily broken or liable to break easily called Britain, and assembly of worshippers or group of people who have come together in a religious building for worship or prayer called congregations, and keeper of the custodian over museums or other connections called curator, and scientific study of skin disease called dermatology, and causing or ending in death called fatal, and one who gets too much called gluten, and a person who cannot read or write called illiterate, and the condition of being unable to sleep over a period of time called insomnia, and persons who supervisor during an examination on invigilator, and that is true where the light cannot pass color opaque, and there are violations of something holy or sacred, okay, sacred days, and a speech made to oneself called holy lucky, and when who lends money on highest rates of interest called user, and one who offers one's survives, okay, without being forced called volunteer, and to give up one's authority or throne called abdication of publication called law containing astronomical or meteorological, okay, meteorological annual calendar that contains important dates and time called almanac. Then another who capable of being capable of understood the idea of two or more possible senses, and therefore not defined and defined again ambiguous, and whose names are not known and unknown author called anonymous, and persons who vision renounce religious or political belief or principle called theory apostle, one who makes and official examinations of accounts of financial records called auditor, and persons who can speak only two languages called bilingual, and other words uttered impiously about God or act of speaking irreverently about sacred things called blasphemy. And the scientific study of plants and their structures called botany, and the arrangements of flowers that is usually given as a present called boutique. And go with this stuff. Sorry, mm, okay, and the person that one that's the one work with at the same place in a profession or business, okay, colleague and gradual recovery of health and strength called convalescence, okay. This means a kind or whatever, and a doctor who studies and treats diseases for dermatologists, and things which to be eaten called edible, and which artificial life population at the same time called epidemic, and a person motivated by irrational enthusiasm called sanity. Okay, the captivity or in is in hiding called fugitive. Okay, the study of art, including the origins and history of the rocks and the soil of where the art is made, called geology, and that was cannot be believed, called incredible, and incapable of feeling pride or enthusiasm, called in the Teal, and that can burn or catches fire easily, called inflammable. That which cannot be called back, called irrevocable, and giving giving undue favors to one's kid or kid and kid. The nepotism is new in other profession without training or experience in a skill or something called voice, and the study or collections of points. Okay, numismatics and the notice of a person to get called on the obituary, and when who sees a bright side of things called optimist, and a person who opposes the war or use of military force called pacifist, and the person who does not like, understand, or enjoy the beauty of art and literature, music, etc. called philistine, and stealing of ideas or writings of someone else called plagiarism, government by the richest people of country called plutocracy, and the scientific study of the mind and how it influences behavior called psychology persons who that withdraw from the world you live in seclusion often in the solitude for recluse, and close finances of fitting of within cover for a short of or now of weapon or a tool called shade and something, yes, something good as a reminder of even. This was 17 character as a reminder of event called 7 year, and exactly the same words or the as we use for Harvard team, and a person who has long experience or practice in an activity called Veteran and then the great degree of the hours and is called rate and fear of great heights, the agoraphobia.